Hi, I'm Chuck Silverman, and welcome to what I hope will be an exciting and informative way of applying Afro-Caribbean rhythms to the drum set. What I like to do with Afro-Caribbean rhythms is use them in an integrated way so you can develop command and control of the instrument. What I mean by integrated is that I use them for independence work, to develop typical sounding groove ideas, and also to develop your hands in some pretty exciting exercises. A major part of the study is not only to use these rhythms in very typical ways, but also in a lot of different creative ways. This is a really exciting application of using Afro-Caribbean rhythms. The video today is going to be divided into 3 separate sections, just as my book, Practical Applications, Book 1, is divided into 3 separate sections. The first section is dealing with typical Latin or Afro-Caribbean rhythms and applying them to the drum set. We're going to be looking at mambo, cha-cha, songo, bolero, and merengue. Different ways of applying them in creative ways and also in typical ways. Next, we're going to be using rhythms found within those patterns to develop more contemporary sounding groove ideas. Following that section will be a section on hand exercises utilizing rudiments and applying them using the Latin patterns that we'll find throughout the book. Now, there's the most important thing that's found within Latin or Afro-Caribbean music is the concept of clave. It's probably the most important thing that we can talk about today. So I want to spend a little bit of time talking about clave. Now, what does clave mean? It actually means something. It's a Spanish word that means foundation, essence, or key. Now, just think about those 3 words. Foundation. The clave is the foundation of the rhythms that are found within Afro-Caribbean music. I want to show you where the clave comes from. Through a lot of playing of this music and a lot of talking about it, I found the clave within the typical Afro-Cuban 6/8 bell pattern. So what I want to do is I want to show you the bell pattern, and then I'm going to show you how clave integrates within the bell pattern. So check this out. First of all, let's look at the very typical 6/8 bell pattern. Sounds like this. 1, 2, ready, play. Many of you have probably heard that pattern before. So now what I want to do is I want to show you how the clave pattern fits into the 6/8 bell pattern. I'm going to play clave on the rim here and play the bell pattern again so you can hear how it fits in. Here it goes. 1, 2, ready, play. Hear it? That rhythm is so important in this music, and we'll be talking about that in a little bit about why it's so important. Now, that particular clave is called something. In the first measure of the phrase, there are 3 beats. I'll play it again. 3 beats. Second measure, there's 2. Okay? Put them both together and you have the 3/2 clave. 3/2 clave is also called the forward clave. Now I'll play it for you so you can hear what it sounds like. For those of you who already know about 3/2 clave, check this out anyway. I really want you to understand about this. It's so important. So here's the 3/2 or forward clave. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, play. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 3-2, forward clave. I feel clave as a tension and a release formula. Now, how did I come up with that idea? A lot of people have asked me, well, what's so important about clave? And the way that I found out, or feel it, I'm up there playing in a band and watching people dance. And I think to myself, why are these people dancing like this? They're really getting down and dancing like amazing. And I came to the realization or thought and feeling that it's clave that's doing it. It's tension and release, tension and release. And it's just driving those people to dance. And believe me, when you play this music in a club and you see those people dance, it's really amazing to see and to feel. And I believe that it's the clave that's doing it. Tension and release. So 3-2, or forward clave, has a tension, tension, release, tension, release. Feel it? Now, there's another way of playing that clave, and that's called 2-3 clave. So the first measure has 2 beats, and the second measure has 3. I'll play it for you, and so you can hear what it sounds like. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And the way that I feel about clave is like a street. And now, on a street, you can go in 2 directions. And each direction you go to leads you, of course, in a different way. And the same with clave. It's the same thing. Clave is just that street, but you can play it in 2 different directions. So what's really interesting is if you come up with an application of a groove idea that we'll be talking about later, that's in clave, you immediately have 2 different ways to play it. You can play it in 3-2, let's say you made it up in 3-2, or you can play it in 2-3. You have 2 different ways to play it immediately. There's very rare cases of anything that's totally wrong in Latin or Afro-Caribbean music. There's a lot of leeway in this music, but there are 2 things that I really want to hip you to. One is called playing out of clave. Okay. Playing out of clave, not only in a Latin context, but in any context, means that you're just not playing in the groove. And this is such an important concept. If you're playing in a big band and you're not grooving with that band, with the bass player and keyboard player and horn section, you're playing out of clave. You don't have to be playing that clave pattern. It's a feel that's the most important thing. If you're playing in a rock band, 2 and 4 on the snare drum is clave. In a jazz band, it's that ride cymbal pattern that's clave. Follow what I'm saying? It's not that it just has to be that pattern, and it's not that it has to just be Latin music. So playing out of clave is a no-no. It's definitely not right. And the other concept is called playing cross clave. And what that means is if a song is played in 3-2 clave direction and you're playing a pattern that's in the opposite, or 2-3, it doesn't fit. It's called cross clave. And if you're ever playing in a band and the conga player turns around to you and goes like this to you, you know what he's saying. You're playing cross clave. And I found the best thing to do, stop, find where the clave direction is, and get right back into it again. So that's about clave. It's extremely important to understand. If you have any question at all about clave, you're playing in a band, ask. The cha-cha rhythm comes to us from Cuba, and many credit its founding or foundation to a man named Enrique Jorrin. Can you say that? The cha-cha is a really exciting rhythm to play, and in it we're going to find many, many different ways of applying it to the drum set and some exciting applications. First of all, we need to know a little bit about cha-cha. For example, where does the name cha-cha come from? It's a really interesting story. To get right down to it, though, Enrique Jorrin made up this rhythm called cha-cha. And he listened to the sound of the dancers' feet on the dance floor when they were dancing cha-cha, and they sounded like this. Cha-cha-cha, 2, 3, cha-cha-cha, 2, 3. And from that sound, he got the name of the dance, cha-cha-cha, which is the more typical way of saying it. Pretty interesting. I thought so. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you how to apply the typical instruments found in cha-cha to the drum set, because most of us will someday have to play a cha-cha. And I really want you to do it right. Do it well. Do it as best as you possibly can. Okay, one of the instruments we're going to discuss is this instrument called the güiro. And the güiro is usually made of a dried gourd. Now, the sound of the güiro is very dry. I'm going to play it for you right now. Here's what it sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4. The güiro. Now, where do you think we're going to find that sound on the drum set? Well, here's where I found it, on the hi-hat. And here's the sound of the güiro on the hi-hat. Sounds like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty close to the sound of the güiro. So the next thing we're going to apply is the sound that the timbale player plays when he's playing timbales. By the way, I'm going to be using the word timbalero during the video. Timbalero is the name given to the timbale player. Now, very typically, extremely typically, the timbalero plays this cowbell. This cowbell is called the cha-cha bell. And the pattern that he plays is straight quarter notes, and here's what it sounds like. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Straight ahead quarter notes. The quarter notes are really on top of the beat. The cha-cha is a very happy up rhythm, and that's an important, very important part of cha-cha. And with a lot of the music we're going to be talking about, it's pa'lante, on top. Pa'lante is a Spanish word. Now, what we want to do is we want to combine those two sounds on the drum set, the sound of the güiro and the sound of the cha-cha bell. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine them, hi-hat and cha-cha bell. If you notice, I have two cha-cha bells. And the purpose of that is so I can play them with either hand and have either hand play the güiro part. Remember what we talked about independence and the integrated approach? Well, here's a great example of it right now. I can play it with either hand. Okay, so let me show you how these two parts fit together. Here it goes right now. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that pattern is deceptively difficult. It's the first pattern that we have that uses three-way coordination. You're using your left foot, left hand, and right hand. What I suggest you do before we even get into any bass drum patterns, you try that pattern out. And the best way to do it is to do it really slowly, really slow. Do it really slow. Here's what it would sound like, extremely slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take your time with these patterns, mainly because it's probably the first time you're investigating these rhythms. So take your time with them to really make them, part of yourself. That's what I really want to get across to you. These patterns have got to come from inside. And if I may take a minute to tell you, first you got to learn the mechanics. Okay? That's the most important thing that I found. You learn the mechanics first, then let the feeling take over. And I might mention that later on in the video. It's mechanics first, then feeling. If you were born in Cuba or Puerto Rico or Africa, where you just had the rhythm inside of you, then hey, whale, play. But if you weren't, I'm from Canada, by the way, you just work on the independence first. Okay, let's go on. There's another part of the drum set I want to incorporate in the cha-cha, and that's going to be the bass drum. The rhythm we're going to use in the bass drum is a relatively typical pattern that we're going to find throughout the book. And it's a pattern called tumbao, T-U-M-B-A-O. It's really any repeated pattern. This is a very typical pattern that the bass player plays in Afro-Caribbean music. And what he plays is like this. I'll count it out for you. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Now what we're going to do is we're going to integrate all those patterns together in a four-way independence exercise that works as a great groove idea. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it for you right now. And here's what it sounds like. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, There's many different ways that I've applied the sounds of cha-cha to the drum set. And here's an interesting way that I've done it. In order to get the güiro sound and free up one of my hands, what I'm going to do is I'll splash the hi-hat open, basically splashing it on beat 1 and beat 3. So I'm going to get this type of sound. That leaves my left hand open to play the cha-cha bell, which leaves my right hand open, and I'm going to play cymbal. I could perhaps play clave, but I'm going to show you a pattern on the cymbal. And I'm also going to play the tumbao bass drum pattern. So let's see what that sounds like. If you noticed, I used a different bass drum pattern during that. I used the and of 2 and 4, and I also used the and of 2 and 4 and. Now, there's another bass drum pattern, though, that I want you to become acquainted with. It's a much simplified version of the bass drum pattern we've been doing. And why do I want you to become accustomed to it? Well, if you're playing this pattern and the bass player isn't grooving with you, you got to change the pattern to one that allows for the groove to happen. This music is all about groove, and it's all about feel. If it doesn't feel good, it doesn't make sense. I guess that makes sense with most every kind of music, especially with Latin music. So let's look at this much simplified bass drum, and all it's going to be is beats 1, 3, and 4, repeated over and over again. And I'm going to use the hi-hat, cha-cha bell, and beats 1, 3, and 4 in the bass drum. So once again, let's play along with the track. One, two. So that's a much simpler version of the bass drum pattern. It also does follow a bass pattern that I've heard played with cha-cha. And there are many other patterns that we can go over. But right now, I want to show you what cha-cha sounds like played along with the band. We're going to talk about mambo. What is mambo? Well, mambo is a dance. That's one of the things that it is. And once again, it's a dance that comes from Cuba. It has deep roots in Africa, as most of the music that we're going to be discussing in this video does. In this case, a lot of people believe that two brothers, Orestes and Israel Lopez, invented mambo. It's a pretty amazing concept. In about 1938 or 1939 in Havana, Cuba. And it was popularized, not necessarily a lot in Cuba, but a lot of the time it was popularized in Mexico City, Mexico, with the band of the great Perez Prado. Mambo is also it's also a section of a song, and that section is characterized by horn figures, by piano and bass figures. It's basically a part of the arrangement So it's a dance, and it's also part of the song. It's a real important rhythm to learn. There's so many different rhythms found within mambo, and I've applied so many of them to the drum set. It's pretty amazing. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be talking about a few of the basic patterns that are found in the rhythm section. And I'm going to be applying the typical rhythm section. And I'm going to be applying those sounds to the drum set. As you can tell by now, this is what I do. I just borrow the sounds from the typical rhythm section, put them on the drum set, orchestrate them, make them sound real good. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the role of the timbalero, the guy who plays timbales, the guy or girl who plays timbales. The timbalero plays a very important role. First, we're going to talk about the verse section of a mambo. Very typically, the timbalero plays what's called the cascara pattern. A lot of people say cascara or cascara, but the way that I've heard it pronounced is cascara. Okay. Now, cascara in Spanish means shell, and it's the pattern played on the shell of the timbale. There's a few different ways to play it. We're going to look at what I call the one-handed pattern. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it, and I'm going to accompany myself with the clave, and I'm going to be using a foot pedal with a wood block attached to it. So you'll hear the clave. So here we go, the cascara pattern in 2-3 or reverse clave direction. And here's what it sounds like. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. The cascara and the clave fit together. It might behoove you to take a minute right now and just rewind and listen to how those two patterns fit together. And also, I was playing a pattern in my left hand. I was playing a muffled tone and an open tone on the low timbal. So what I do is I take the cascara pattern and that muffled and open tone on the low timbal and put them on the drum set. And I accompany those two patterns with the bass drum pattern that we discussed earlier. We'll call it the tumbao. Now here's what I'm going to do. Left hand on the hi-hat playing the cascara pattern, right hand playing muffled and open. And this is what I call the basic mambo pattern. Now we're going to apply the cascara pattern and play it with clave on the drum set. And what I'm going to do this time, instead of playing the cascara pattern in my left hand, I'm going to play it over here on this hi-hat with my right hand and play the clave with my left hand cross stick. And this is what I'm talking about the different ways of applying these patterns in independence exercises. I'm going to add, since my left foot is free, I'm going to add half notes with my left foot. It's a killer four-way independence exercise. So let's hear what this sounds like. It's going to be in 2-3 clave also. One, two, 1, 2, 1. And of course you saw how I switched to the cymbal with my right hand. Now, there's 8 different ways of playing these exercises. I've just given you 2. If you turn the clave to the forward clave and play it in 3-2, then you have 2 more ways of doing it. I can play left hand on the cymbal, left foot playing half notes, right hand playing clave and bass drum pattern. That's another way of doing it. There's many different ways of working these exercises out to maximize independence. So you can use these as great independence exercises. Remember, we're talking about the role of the timbale player in the verse section of a mambo-style tune. Now, the next pattern I'm going to play is the two-handed cascara pattern. Now, why I call it two-handed pattern is that the left hand fills in where the right hand does not play. So first I'm going to show it to you on timbales, accompanying myself with the clave and the pedal down here, my left foot. And then we're going to apply it to the drum set. So here's the way it sounds on timbales with clave. Let's play it in 3-2 clave. So here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, it almost does sound like I'm just playing alternating singles, right, left, but I'm really not. And that's an important concept. There's a flow that absolutely has to happen between the two shells playing this pattern. So now, I'll apply it to the hi-hat and let you hear what this sounds like. And it almost does sound like I'm playing alternating singles, but I'm not. So let's check this out. Here's what it sounds like. 1, 2, 1, 2. It's the two-handed, what I call the two-handed cascara pattern. What I'd like to do is show you how I've applied the two-handed pattern as a groove idea. Now, I want to keep those, these are 8th notes, we're in cut time. I want to keep those 8th notes really even. It's part of the feel of the music. So if I make up like a funk pattern, which I'm going to show you now, I want to keep those 8th notes very even. So what I'll do is, I'm going to show you first the two-handed pattern. I'm going to play along with the play along. And then I'm going to get into this funk idea. I want you to see where it came from. And I want you to understand that this is kind of just an idea for you. This is what I've done. What I want you to do is I want you to come up with your own ideas. That's the whole purpose of me being here. I want to show you what I've done for the purpose of letting you know that it's all available to you, whatever you want to do with it. So I'm going to play the 2-3, two-handed cascara pattern, and then I'm going to get into this funk idea to let you hear how it flows. All right? Here we go. Now, you'll notice I changed the backbeat a little bit during the playing section, and I also added a cowbell in my left foot because I've got this X-hat over here. It's just one way of applying the Koskara pattern, two-handed Koskara pattern. Did you see how it flowed? What I really did in order to develop this pattern, I just borrowed a little phrase that I heard a bongo player play, and I applied it as the bass drum, snare drum pattern, and came up with this funk idea. What I'd like to do now is give you some ideas on how to creatively apply the Koskara pattern. It's a great two-bar pattern, so let's check it out. Here's an interesting sticking idea. I'm going to play it very slowly for you, and I'm going to isolate the Koskara pattern on this cha-cha bell so you'll hear what it sounds like. It's going to be really slow. All right, so I really want you to know that. I'm going to play it very slowly. Here it goes. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That was the Koskara pattern, very slowly. Put on that slow speed and find out the sticking that I used. It's very simple. It's kind of a 6-stroke roll sticking. Now, let me play it a little bit faster so you can hear the Koskara pattern. Here's what it sounds like. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That was the Koskara pattern. Did you hear it? And then I just went and applied it to the cymbals. I use this as a warm-up exercise because it gets my arms happening, and also the accents really warm me up a lot. There's many other ways that this pattern has been applied. I enjoy giving this exercise to my students and seeing what they've come up with, and I've had some great applications from these guys. And I want to share with you how I've taken them a little bit further. Now, that pattern I just played on the snare drum accenting on the cowbell, I've applied that whole pattern to the drum set. And here's what it sounds like. I'm going to play the pattern on the snare drum. Remember now it's the Koskara pattern. And then I'm going to apply it to the drum set as this long drum set idea. So here's how it sounds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that drum set pattern was an application of this sticking idea that I played beforehand. Within that 4-bar phrase of 8th note triplets, I found so many different ideas. I found this great 10-note idea. 10 notes, and they're 8th note triplets. So let me show you how that phrase sounds. I'll play some swing time so you can get the feel happening, and then I'm going to play 2 phrases of 10 and 1 phrase of 4. That's 24 notes, and that's how many 8th notes are in 2 measures of 8th note triplets. Okay? Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Now you could speed that fill idea up a little bit, making it into 16th note triplets. Sounds like this. 1, 2, 3. 2 groups of 10, 1 group of 4. Also within that drum set idea, I found some really interesting groups of 9s and 6s. The 9s and 6s are really interesting. What I've done is I group them together in different combinations that mathematically end up being 24. So let's hear what they sound like. Here's 2 groups of 9 and 1 group of 6. Once again with some swing time in the front. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Two groups of 9, 1 group of 6. What's interesting that I found is that the snare drum, accent, and bass drum pattern sounds like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now within that, 2 groups of 9, 1 group of 6, you can change the, let's say you can change the equation. 1 group of 6, 2 groups of 9, 1 group of 9, 1 group of 6, 1 group of 9. Do whatever you want. Let's take it back where I got it from, the Cascara pattern that the timbale player plays in the verse section of a mambo. The maracas are another instrument that are very typically found within Afro-Caribbean music. I've applied their sound to the hi-hat in typical ways and also in kind of contemporary ways. And what I'm going to do now is show you how I've done them in those different types of ways. One, two. When the mambo changes from the verse to the chorus, the timbale player, the timbalero, also changes from playing cascara to playing the mambo cowbell. And what I want to show you right now is one of the most typical mambo cowbells in 2/3 clave. Always remember that it's available for you in 3/2 also. And I'll be playing clave down here with my foot and accompanying myself on the low timbale with a real typical muffled and open tone pattern. The most important thing I want you to listen for is the mambo bell and its relation to clave. So here's what it sounds like. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now we have to apply this pattern to the drum set. And what I've chosen to do is play the mambo bell on the ride cymbal, and I'm going to be playing clave on cross stick. Hi-hat's going to be playing half notes, and the bass drum will be playing tumbao, the and of 2 and 4, or a version of tumbao, just the and of 2. One, two, one, two. There are many different mambo bell patterns. What I suggest you do is go buy some records. Go out and hear your neighborhood local salsa band. Check out this music. There's a lot of stuff to learn. What I'm going to do now is show you what the bongo player plays in the chorus section of a mambo tune. Now, during the verse, the bongo player, or bongocero, is playing bongos. During the chorus, at a strategic point in the chorus, puts the bongos down, picks up the bongo cowbell, and plays bongo cowbell. And there's a very distinct pattern that you play on the bongo cowbell. These two bells here are bongo bells. They're very different than mambo bells. Believe that they're a thicker gauge because they're played differently and there's a different purpose for them. What I want to do is I'm going to show you how the bongo player plays the bell, the sound of it, in relation to clave. So here is, once again, 2-3 clave, bongo bell pattern. And here's what it sounds like. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you notice, I played the bongo bell with my left hand. Once again, you can play it with your right hand, play it in 3-2, 2-3. There's many different applications of it. What I'm going to show you is applying the bongo bell and the mambo bell together. This pattern requires a lot of independence. I'm going to be playing mambo bell with my left hand, bongo bell with my right hand, and an accompanying hi-hat bass drum pattern. Transitions are a very important part of playing this music. By transitions, I mean the ability to go into the song, play the verse pattern, play a traditional or typical fill to go into the chorus pattern, and to play another fill to get back to the verse pattern. This is like another glue, I guess, that holds the rhythms together. It's very important to pay attention to the transitions. In the following mambo that the band's going to be playing, you'll hear some of those transitions being played. Hope you enjoy it. The way we're going to discuss Songo now is I'm going to use some of the patterns that we've talked about in the mambo section, plus one new one. And what is Songo? Well, it's a rhythm from Cuba. It's really hot, very contemporary. It's really used a lot now. And I want to give you an idea of how you can use this video to get your Songo playing together. The first way I want to talk about it is I want to use what I call the essence of a mambo bell pattern. First of all, I'm going to play the mambo bell, and I'm going to bring out the accents a little bit. This is what I call the essence of the pattern. And then I'm going to show you how I orchestrate it between the snare drum, bass drum, and the bongo bell to give you a real nice sounding songo groove. So let's first look at the mambo bell pattern that we've been talking about today. So here's how it sounds. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice those accents. Now I'm going to orchestrate those accents between the snare drum and bass drum and accompany those accents with the bongo bell. Once again, I'm going to play the mambo bell pattern with the bongo bell, then I'm going to orchestrate it. I want you to pay particularly close attention to the patterns that I play in the bongo bell. Here it goes. 1, 2. So did you notice how I applied the accents, or the essence of the mambo bell pattern, to the snare drum and bass drum, and also the different patterns I used in the bongo bell and up on the cymbal? There's one other idea I want to go over when we're talking about songo. There's a 2 cowbell pattern that I've heard this great drummer from Cuba, Jose Luis Quintana Fuentes, his nickname Changuito. If you haven't heard about Changuito, go out and buy some albums by the great band Los Bamban de Cuba, from Cuba. Here's one of the patterns that he plays, and it's so easy to apply it in a songo context. First, I'm just going to play it between these 2 bells, mambo and cha-cha bell, with clave. So here's how it sounds. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now here's the band playing songo. The bolero is a Latin ballad or love song. And once again, I'm going to apply some sounds that are found in the typical Latin rhythm section to the drum set. The two rhythms I'm going to apply are the rhythms either played by the maracas or the timbale player. And I'm going to apply those rhythms to the hi-hat. There's another rhythm that's typically played by the conguero or conga player, and I'm going to apply those rhythms to these two toms right here. What I'm going to do with this play along is first I'm going to play the two patterns together, hi-hat and toms, and then I'm going to leave the toms out so you can hear how they both sound. Accompanying those sounds is going to be a very typical and very simple bass drum pattern. 1, 3, 4, 1. That'll be repeated. If you have a conga player, you're not going to want to play this tom part. And sometimes, even if there isn't a conga player, I choose not to play it, just to play the hi-hat part. Very basic and very simple. So let's hear what it sounds like. One. Don't forget to keep in mind some other applications of the bolero rhythm, perhaps a backbeat on 2 and 4 along with the toms. Now let's listen to the band play a bolero. Merengue is a rhythm from Santo Domingo. Santo Domingo is right next to Cuba on the island of Hispaniola. It occupies the island with Haiti, or Haiti. Just thought you'd like to know. There's many rhythms found within merengue. What I've chosen to do on the drum set is to emulate the sound of the tambora, which is a very common instrument found in merengue. I'm going to emulate the sound of the tambora on the snare, different sounds on the rim, and on the tom. So here's what that pattern sounds like along with a play along. Now, toward the middle of what I'm going to play right now, I'm going to add, in my left hand, cowbell. That's another typical instrument, typical sound found in the merengue. So let's hear how that sounds. One, two, 1, 2, 3. Now, one other way that I apply a sound typically found in merengue to the drum set is there's a guiro in merengue. It's very different than the guiro found in salsa or mambo or cha-cha. What it does is it opens or has the open scratch sound on 2 and 4. And what I choose to do is splash the hi-hat on 2 and 4 to get that sound. So now what I'm going to do is exactly what I just did with my hands, except now with the hi-hat, I'm going to splash on 2 and 4. Well, let's hear what that sounds like. This combination really gives a full effect. It's also quite difficult. You got to take your time. Remember what I said, independence first. First work out the basic, and then get into the feel. Mechanics, then feel. Okay? One, two, 1, 2, 3. There are many different rhythms found in merengue. These are just some basic ideas for you to begin with. If you're interested, there's some great bands that play merengue, so check out some albums. Go out and listen to a band play. It's a great rhythm. Now let's listen to the band play merengue. I found many different ways of applying the patterns that we've been studying in this video to the drum set. One interesting method that I've used is applying them in a kind of a rudimental fashion. And I want to share a couple of those with you right now. You can go with them as far as you want. That's one of the secrets about these rhythms and this rhythm study. Hopefully you'll let this be kind of a spur to spur you on to other creative endeavors. It's up to you to take the risk to do it, though. Just take the risk to create. So we're going to talk about the clave, and we're going to apply clave to the drum set, first as a hand pattern. What I'm going to do is I'm going to accompany the pattern that I'm going to play with a simple bass drum hi-hat exercise. Now, I know that this is difficult. When I first started to teach it, I thought that everybody could play this type of stuff. But I soon realized that most people can't. You've got to take your time with this, but it really, really works. What I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the clave as a hand pattern using paradiddle-diddle sticking and paradiddle sticking. Paradiddle-diddles are just right-left, right-right, left-left, or left-right, left-left, right-right. And I'll play it very slowly to begin with so you can see the sticking a little bit clearer. And then I'm going to take the tempo up, and then I'm going to apply it as a groove idea. So here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that was a paradiddle, paradiddle-diddle application of the clave to the drum set. And it works. That was in 3-2 clave direction. So you can just turn that groove around and you'll have another idea right away, playing it in reverse clave. Here's one other idea. This is kind of interesting. It takes, we're going to use what are called Swiss triplets. And it's another rudimental idea. And we're going to group them together, 2 groups of 5 and a group of 6. That equals 16, and that's how many 16th notes are found in one measure of 4/4 time. So first I'm going to put it on the snare drum with a hi-hat bass drum combination. Once again playing half notes in the hi-hat and the and of 2 and 4 in the bass drum. Here's what the pattern sounds like. I'm going to play it very slowly, and then I'm going to play it as a groove idea. It's pretty interesting. And then I'm going to play it as a fill idea. So here's how it sounds. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just allow me to take the tempo up just a little bit so you can get a better feel for the fill idea. 1, 2. Applying these typical ideas as more contemporary groove ideas has always been an exciting adventure for me, and I want to share it with you. I'm going to play a couple of different ideas for you now, and just to give you a flavor of some of the things that I've done in a groove idea with some of the rhythms that we have been studying, and another one called Mozambique, which I investigate further in Book 3 of Practical Applications. Let's listen to it and see what it sounds like. I'm going to orchestrate it around the drum set. First, we're going to start out with my left foot playing cowbell. Be playing quarter notes. I'll be orchestrating it over on the hi-hat here, snare drum, and bass drum. So here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Here's another pattern that comes from a typical Afro-Cuban pattern called Wawanko. What I've done is I've orchestrated some of the parts that are found in that rhythm to the drum set. This video doesn't allow me the time to really get into Wawanko at this time, but what I've done is I've applied the sound of the congas to the bass drum and snare drum, and the sound of another typical pattern to the hi-hat. And here's what it sounds like. One. I'd like to leave you with a few thoughts at the end of this video. I think you can really use these rhythms to develop command and control of this instrument, the drum set. I've been involved with Afro-Caribbean rhythms for a long time, and have found them a never-ending source of stuff to do. Fill ideas, contemporary ideas, typical ideas. They help you to develop a unique voice, a voice that's going to set you apart from perhaps from other drummers and give you that voice that people are going to search for. I think that clave and clave-related rhythms can really do that for you. One other very important concept of mine, and a thought and a feeling I really want to leave you with, is to take the risk to be creative. Thanks a lot for joining me on this musical journey.